how's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be taking a look at Aunt No Grave, issue number 1. This is one that I found kind of randomly. I always like to look through the new books and see what's up, and this cover definitely struck my eye, some big expressive artwork, and that's when I realized this was Skottie Young and Jorge Corona, the team that brought us the Me You Love in the Dark, and that was a really cool haunted house, different take on a ghost story, right? So I thought, hey, I like what this team had done before, I'll check it out. And this book definitely had some interesting stuff. It was a Western with a fantasy and horror twist to it. This woman is dying, so she goes out into the middle of nowhere and kind of gets to the more surreal part of the Wild West in order to try to prevent herself from dying. And it is good and interesting, but I have to say, you do have to get to the interesting part. Like the idea of there's her family and she's sad that she's dying and she has to leave them. It just takes a while without the book even dropping a hint of the supernatural. And I'm like, this is okay, but I didn't think it was anything special. But then you get to the supernatural stuff and the book gets so much more interesting. So I have to say, definitely stick with it. And when you get to the cool part, it does get a lot better. And this is a series that where this issue ends, I got a lot more excited for where it was going. And I definitely plan on checking out more of this and seeing how it all pans out. But yeah, definitely you do have to get through a little bit of a slow start. But we got some really cool, big, expressive artwork, and we got the Wild West treated in a very interesting way by bringing in the fantasy and the horror, and I really do like how this book plays out. So definitely give it a shot. Just, you know, you gotta get through that first half of this issue, and then we're gonna get to some really cool stuff. But anyway, if you guys want to see a little bit more, I'm going to switch to the close-up camera. I'll show you guys some of the story, some of the art, but I won't do any major spoilers. But without further ado, let's go ahead and switch to the close-up camera. Alright, here we are inside the castle, taking a closer look at Aunt No Grave number 1. Right off the bat, I really do love this cover, really does showcase the art, with her big flowing jacket and this cool Grim Reaper character behind her. This character hasn't showed up in this issue, but I'm hoping he will soon, because he looks really cool. And then we get the little family there at the bottom. And on the back, we get a black and white drawing, a quote from our main character, and 00111, rated M for mature. Crack the book open, and we get to see it's written by Skottie Young with art by Jorge Corona, and a really nice Western extra wide. Now, after that, we get into the story proper. Not going to be doing any major spoilers, but I do want to say my piece on a few plot points and make sure you guys have a basic understanding as to what the book's about. So let's go ahead and dive right in, but I won't be spoiling the end. Anyway, we open up with Chapter 1, Denial, and we get these gravestones, so a nice fun title splash, but there are a ton of pages in this book that are just really big, wide opens that, you know, are there to set an atmosphere, but you might flip through them really quick if you don't take them in. But anyway, we get our main character, a lone woman riding on this horse, when she sees an abandoned stagecoach and she finds a doll in it. The doll is connected to this girl who's there, and she has a flashback to her own daughter, as well as the happy moments with her family. But then she remembers why she's not there. She starts to cough up blood, and it turns out she's going to be dying. Not wanting to just sit there and die, she is going to set out on her quest, which does mean that if she doesn't succeed, she'll just spend the remainder of her life without her family, but maybe she'll be able to do what she sets out to do. The little girl's mother comes to defend her daughter, and she will, of course, decide to leave. And I get that this scene does inspire, you know, like, the flashback to set things up, but the flashback and then these two, they don't really have like, they're not super interesting. You know, I don't really care about these two. Maybe they'll be important later. And, you know, we've seen the idea of, you know, the tragic backstory before, and I thought, you know, okay, this is fine. But then this is where the book gets interesting, when a flood of ghosts show up and try to lure her into the river because she is dying and she should just accept her death. There's no supernatural hints before this, and I really do like when the ghosts show up. I feel the book gets much, much more interesting. She'll, of course, resist that temptation, and then we cut to a little bit later. She's on her horse again looking for something, and then we get like this double-page splash. Good and atmospheric, but the Native Americans here aren't in the rest of the book. I get it's supposed to be foreboding because they know where she's going and we don't. But yeah, I don't know. I think we could have cut the page numbers down a little bit maybe, but it is extra thick. But anyway, where she's going to is this place depicted on a coin. You have to go through these trees, and then basically you're in Western fantasy world where she hopes to find some preventative measure for her death, and things get bigger and crazier from there. Again, I won't spoil it, but I will repeat that the book gets much more interesting the further we go into fantasy. So I will say this is one that didn't hook me right away, but if you stick to it and get to the good stuff, yeah, I really hope we're going to get a really fun and entertaining, just crazy fantasy book, and I do have hope for it. But again, it isn't one that hooked me right away, and I needed to get to that fantasy stuff, and then it did wow me eventually. But anyway, definitely say pick this one up, though. It is really fun. Love the art and stuff. Anyway, though, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll leave a relevant playlist on the bottom. This should be my number ones playlist. If you want to see me talk about a bunch of other new series, you should find them there. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Relevant playlist on the bottom. Have a good day now.